afternoon and welcome back to Restaurant Review. We're here for our tape show on Saturday afternoon, and we're ready to present to you again a new upcoming artist and a brand or relatively new restaurant for the area. Today we're real pleased to have a young man who's come to our community from other areas, and we're going to be going to him momentarily. For those who are first-time viewers, we like to go a little bit over our format. As you hopefully know, that we debut new restaurants every week and new musicians. We also have a place for any artists that would like to display their work. If they are interested in contacting us, stay tuned. At the end of the show or during the show, we'll tell you our website as well as a phone number to call. If you want to be here in the audience, you're more than welcome to call or go through the website. And we're glad to have you sit in and listen to the great music we have and hear what the chefs and owners of the restaurants have to say. So give us a call or give us a write, and we look forward to it. Don't forget, in case I forget, I'm in 4 magazines. Right now I've added my 4th one, North Lake News, The Liquid. Gulf Coast Arts Review is coming out with its latest, and it's doing a review of Winnie's, which we had on our show X number of months ago. And starting next week, I'm working with Nexus magazine with the lovely France couple that debuted a few months ago. I'll be doing a weekly column, and we'll feature Wolves of New Orleans starting next week. So be on the lookout for Nexus. These are all free papers and magazines throughout the community in the coffee shops and different locations. Okay, we're ready to start now, and I'm going to take a little trip and introduce to our musical guest. All right? Today, we have with us Joshua Bennett. Joshua is, we call him, of course, Joshua is a hard name for me for some reason. I keep calling him Josh, and he said he doesn't mind, and hopefully he won't mind me messing up his name. But Joshua is originally from New Jersey. Okay, great. I know you moved out to the West Coast like a lot of people do.
I was in LA for about 8 months. Yeah.
8 months. Well, that wasn't a long-term change. Usually they stay out longer. Then he came to our neighbor city, Baton Rouge, right?
That's right.
Great. Making a film. I didn't hear that part.
Yeah.
Good. And he's just recently transplanted here, which we're real glad. He's finished his schooling, and he's appearing around town. He's definitely going to be, you're going to be at the Neutral Ground?
On the 8th. That's Wednesday at 10 p.m. Neutral
Ground on Dan Neal uptown. As you know, we get a lot of our stars, musical stars from there. So please attend. There's no cover, and you'll get a chance to really hear him more songs than just the 3 that he'll do today. Okay, he doesn't have a CD out yet, but we're helping him with that to move forward. So we'll let you know that progress when and if it comes. I think the name of the tune is Good Times you're going to start with?
Higher Aspirations.
Higher Aspirations. Okay, well, my mistake. Go ahead and let's start. Thank you.
Wax them over when we say, yeah, what's happening? It's good to see your face again. Baby, when we meet again, love will not be so far away, yeah. Oh. An antidote is what I need to shake the clouds encircling me from brighter visions of the man, of the person I would be if you would give me time to recollect myself, who I was before you came to me, yeah. Oh, Lord, yeah. Higher aspirations lift me past your love, girl, I said. Higher aspirations lift me past your love, yeah. Higher aspirations lift me past your love, yeah. Yeah. Oh. An antidote is what I need to shake them clouds encircling me, another night that passes by, and with it gone a hope that leaves me dry, waiting for a chance to meet one time again who I was before you came around, baby. Ooh, yeah, 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 yeah. Higher aspirations lift me past your love, girl. I said higher aspirations lift me past your love, yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Lord, Lord, Lord. High aspirations lift me up. High aspirations lift me up. High aspirations lift me up. Oh, Lord, Lord, high aspirations lift me up. High aspirations lift me up. High aspirations lift me up. Well, I would never say whatever. High aspirations lift me up. Yeah, 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 yeah. High aspirations lift me up. Lord, 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 Lord. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Higher lift me up. Thank you.
Very, very nice. A lot of volume, a lot of intensity with that young man. And that same quality is what we're talking about in the restaurant today. Today we're talking about a restaurant that has gone through several changes over the years, and it's in our suburban parish or county for those outside of New Orleans. And the name of the restaurant is Zekes. I'm going to show you the menu. And it's named after the owner and co-host, the chef and guest today, Mr. Zekes. Zeke, welcome to the show.
Thank
Zeke
you.
is a product of our area, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
As he is, but I know he's in fact trained at several of our establishments. When was that first one? Let's go back to the beginning. Where did you first start?
First was at Fat Harry's, and then we moved on to Frankie and Johnny's, and then from that point we went to West End Cafe.
Okay.
And in August of last year we acquired the restaurant on Metairie Road.
Okay, let's talk about Fat Harry's. Of course, is a local college hangout that has broadened over the years. It's been there for many, many years uptown. Most importantly, Frankie and Johnny's. That's a local establishment in New Orleans, traditional boiled type seafood. All the local favorites. It's a late night, early day place. It's a neighborhood funky kind of place, and Zeke was there at the opening, so he helped introduce a great establishment. West End Cafe is in our Lakeview area by our lake, and also has a real good crowd. So he's brought his reputation locally to the suburban area to a restaurant that has, like I said, gone through several change in owners and really hasn't done as well previously as before. But fortunately, because of his reputation, he really is packing them in, and so it's really made a turnaround. Old Metairie needs a good family-style restaurant with the basic foods, open lunch and day. He's opened 7 days a week for you folks, lunch and dinner every day, and even has added breakfast on Sunday mornings. We're going to actually start now, Zeke, with the menu. We'll talk about the breakfast since it's a one time a day right near the end. So we're going to start with your lunch and your dinner menu. I was fortunate enough to go a couple of times recently and able to try some of the food. One of the things he features as part of his, even though he doesn't call it appetizers, is oysters. Oysters is a big product here in Louisiana, especially in New Orleans. And he does them several ways. Of course, we always have our standards. But one of the ways that's pretty unique, and even though he might not have invented it, he certainly has taken it and expanded it. It's called the charbroiled oyster, where the oyster itself is grilled on the half shell. Is that right, Zeke?
That is correct.
And now, what do you top it with? I know you had like a cheese topping. What else do we put in it?
Well, we have a butter and garlic with seasonings, some sage, some thyme, a little pepper, just a little lemon juice, rosemary, and we put that on top of we put the oyster on the charbroil, char it on the outside, then add the sauce, and it flames up and chars the oyster.
Right.
And that's how we sell it. We sprinkle a little Parmesan cheese and serve it with some bread. People love to dip the bread in the juice.
Of course, of course. Well, it's really good, folks. And like I say, if you're going to cook an oyster and not fry it, this is one of the best ways to do it. It's right in the shell as opposed to some of the other ways. So I would encourage you to try that because there's not that many establishments that have it locally, and he's done a good job with it. Now, he has one that is a little unusual. We're used to seeing this as an entree, but not with oysters, and that is an oyster amandine. Where his oysters are fried and served with the amandine. Let's talk a little bit about that because that is another unusual treatment and something that I think the audience should hear about.
Yes, Bob. But first I want to tell you that all of our seafood is out of Louisiana waters, and we say that on our menu right off the top. If you look in your menu, it says we proudly serve Louisiana seafood, and we don't substitute that quality at all at any time. We have a dish. We have it's like 8 fried oysters. It's lightly fried and put into a ramekin and covered with Meunier sauce, topped with almonds, and roasted off in the oven and sold. And it's pretty tasty, pretty popular also.
Very good. And we do have some other items for those who don't, besides oysters, because again, we know oysters is not for everyone, even though it should be. But you also have some of our other standards, and that's the boiled seafoods, which many of our locals are used to going all the way out to our lake area to get, and that's boiled shrimp and boiled crawfish and boiled crabs. Is that right?
Yes, sir. And I think we got some of the best boiled seafood in the city. We got I was taught by Junior Morrell, whose daddy taught him, who founded Frankie and Johnny's, and I've learned that recipe and I've kept it over the years, and it's a good tried and true recipe for the crawfish, crabs, and shrimp, and I'll put our crawfish, crabs, and shrimp against anybody.
Great, great. Now, in addition to that, he still has an appetizer menu. So, even though those are great beginning items, it's still there's additional appetizers. I know some of the ones that we wanted to talk about was I think the first one was. Let's see if I can get my notes real quick. Yeah. There we go. Shrimp remoulade. I didn't get a chance to taste this, but tell us how you feel about your remoulade with regard to your particular remoulade sauce.
Well, we have a different style remoulade sauce. It's more of a creamy style remoulade sauce. It's made with its base is mayonnaise and Creole mustard and a couple other ingredients, and it's whipped up and it's pretty good on top of the remoulade salad. It's very tasty, and that came from a good friend of ours, Jerry Fertel.
Okay. Oh yeah, the Fertels we know well. Now also he has one which is kind of a little bit out there, but I haven't tried it either, so I do need to have Zeke elaborate on it. And that's a southwestern dish, a shrimp or a crawfish quesadilla. I'm glad to see him use our local seafood again in different ways. But let's talk about that, because that doesn't seem like your normal seafood restaurant to have a quesadilla in it.
No, but believe it or not, it is very popular. We make everything from scratch. It's a tortilla shell on the. We put it on the grill, and then we put the cheddar and the mozzarella, and the pico sauce, which is a combination of green chili peppers, tomato pieces, and salsa. It's mixed up together and served. And the crawfish and shrimp are added to the tortilla shell and grilled off, and quartered and served with guacamole, sour cream, and salsa on the side. And it's a very popular dish.
Well, there you go. That's something for that's not on your ordinary seafood restaurant, so that'll be something different. But you're also proud of your jumbo crab meat au gratin. And what makes you so proud of that particular dish?
Well, it's one of the better dishes on our menu. It is made with jumbo lump crab meat from Louisiana, which you can't get any better product than that. It's a creamy texture, and it's topped with cheddar cheese. It's a very good dish.
Okay. All right, well, we finished, and again, there are more appetizers, but we need to move on because we put a lot of emphasis on with the beginning items. Next thing are soups. You basically have 2 soups. One, of course, is your gumbo, which, of course, is so traditional in New Orleans. Is there anything particular about your gumbo?
Yeah, we have a dark, thick roux, and it's
similar to a yaya, gumbo yaya?
Yeah, very similar, and it's a very good concoction. It's made by Chef Smitty. It's his recipe, and it's a dark roux, and we add shrimp and crab meat and okra and seasoning. It really is one of our top dishes.
Right. Of course, like I say, you only had 2 soups, but the other soup is your your soup du jour. So let's talk about some. I know I had I tried a mushroom soup the other day, cream of mushroom, but I know you had some others you were really bragging about. What other ones do we have?
Well, we rotate our soups to like every couple of days, and we have a turtle soup that's really good that Chef makes. We have a turkey andouille gumbo that's really good. Then sometimes we'll have the Creole crab bisque, and sometimes we'll have the corn and crab bisque. And we rotate those soups around. Sometimes we'll do chicken tortilla, but the chefs, Smitty and Pee Wee, do a good job with the soups.
Okay, so again, I'm kind of a soup fanatic, so I usually I learned that, took away that from my marriage. I think I told everyone soup and vegetables I've really gotten to include in the menu. In the old days, I never even thought twice about them. So I think it's a great accompaniment, and if you don't start with an appetizer, there's nothing better than starting with a soup, hot or cold. Okay, in addition to soups, we have to talk about salads, not only because everyone is interested in eating lighter today, but a lot of ladies in the restaurant as well as men. Let's talk about your signature soup salad. I'll get it. Your Zekes shrimp salad. Let's talk how you do that. What makes yours different?
Well, actually, it's originated as Claire's shrimp salad from Miss Claire Caballero, a good friend of mine. She gave me the recipe, and when we moved from West End to Metairie Road, I said, well, let me name it Claire's since it's her name. She goes, no, you call it Zekes. It's a mayonnaise-based compound salad with fresh shrimp. We only use fresh shrimp that I boil. We chop it up. We've got celery, green onion, mayonnaise, a little parsley, and some seasonings, and we mix that, an egg, and a little taste of sliced chopped pickle, and it goes on top of a bed of combination romaine iceberg, and it's one of our most popular salads. And we sell a lot of salads. The ladies really like the salads.
Yeah, I know they do. But again, for lunch especially, a lot of people are eating lighter, so especially during the workday. And folks, his workday business is packed, so it's not like not that you need a reservation. We didn't ask, how big is your restaurant with regard to size? People can see some of the back of it here in the thing, but again, I know you have several dining rooms, so what is your normal accommodation?
Right, we can seat 15 at the bar. We can seat 6 at the bar, little tables. We have some couple of high cocktail tables. We can seat 94 in the non-smoking area. We can seat 36 in the smoking room, and in the back banquet room, we can seat up to 100.
So you're pretty well established. I know they were having Secretary's Day one day I was there, so I know they were filling up the back. But the front, the main dining room, the non-smoking, I haven't been in the smoking, but the non-smoking one seems to always be filled. So it's a great tribute to him and his experience, and we're glad to see it thrive nowadays. Now, let's go back to salads. Besides your signature shrimp salad, you have one that's, of course, it's something we see a lot. Your fried oyster Caesar. I know you said that was a good one. Why did you choose that one, fried oyster Caesar?
Well, the reason we did that, Bob, is because of one of the reasons was because of the oyster bar. We have the fresh oysters right there all the time. And when we first opened up, it wasn't on the menu, and we did it as a lot of times we'll do a lunch too, which will be a seafood salad of some sort. And we tried the oyster Caesar one day, and people loved it and raved about it. And we did it again the next week, and people were demanding for it, so we put it on the menu. And it's a very popular item.
Right. Well, of course, the big thing with salads is not only the ingredients and the freshness of the greens and/or the entrees now, because most salads are entree salads instead of side salads, but of the dressings. And what we noticed here is that there's several that you make in-house, and that is a key to me to a good dressing. I mean, a lot of our places don't have the time to do it, but a truly fine restaurant is going to take its time and at least do some of the dressings, if not all of them, because that's where your chef really can shine through and really make a regular salad into a really something important. Let's talk about the individual dressings that you make. Let's go one by one of the ones that you make in-house.
Well, the first and the most popular is our house dressing, which is the vinaigrette dressing. This is a recipe I've got from our brother Dickie. He played with it for a while, and he came up with a good concoction. It's a combination of Italian dressing, Worcestershire sauce, a little bit of sugar, red wine, vinegar, a little garlic, and some seasonings that's mixed up. It comes out very nice as a homemade vinaigrette. The next dressing we do is a honey mustard dressing, which is Creole mustard and yellow mustard with mayonnaise that we make from scratch. Then we also do a ranch dressing
Wait, let me interrupt you for a second. Did you say a Creole mustard or a honey mustard or both?
I'm sorry, honey mustard, excuse me.
Okay.
Honey mustard, and we use Creole mustard in the recipe.
Ah, okay. That's where I get confused.
Sorry.
Are we saying we have two different ones, or is it the same sound?
No, sir, I'm sorry. It's honey mustard,
Right.
and it's made with Creole mustard.
Based Creole mustard.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Well, Creole, of course, is great, but I think the sweetness of the honey is bound to add
Right.
a great little flavor to it.
It does. The honey, it's the honey, the yellow mustard, and the Creole mustard come to a really
Okay.
nice.
I'm glad we clarified it because, again, we don't want to mislead someone out there. So I would certainly try this one because I think the balance between the sweet and the mustard ought to be great. And you said you still had another one that you do from home, from scratch?
We do the remoulade dressing from scratch.
Okay.
Okay, and then our fourth dressing would be the ranch dressing.
Ranch, okay.
Yes, sir, which we make with the buttermilk.
Ah, you use real buttermilk?
Yes, sir.
Ah, good. Well, again, ranch is always a basic standby. Of course, today ranch has been getting relegated to the ordinary restaurant. So, because again, people are looking for lighter things. But before we go any further, as we mentioned, you're welcome to call, and we do have a caller. So, caller, welcome to Restaurant Review. I'm Bob Bockelman, and we have Zeke Unans, of Zeke's Restaurant in Metairie. Who are we speaking to, please?
This is Grace.
Hi, Grace.
Hi, I'm calling to find out if Zeke has any summer squash and what type of vegetarian dishes does he have. And I have two more questions after that.
Zeke, Grace is a great follower, and she speaks for the vegetarian community, but at the same time, she has other things. How do we address the vegetarians, whether it's strictly a side order of vegetables, or what other areas do you touch on for vegetarians?
Well, honestly, we do not have a vegetable plate on the menu, but we do have 3 vegetables in-house every day. For instance, sometimes we'll have broccoli, corn. We'll do a sautéed mix, which is squash, zucchini, and red onions and broccoli sautéed. We have carrots all the time on the menu. We do cauliflower. We do asparagus sometimes. But we do not have, per se, a vegetarian plate, but that might be a thought. I've never had a request yet, but that's a thought.
But again, Jace, they do have a lot of, I would suggest that you give them a call. Always check on their soups, because they do a lot of vegetable soups. And, of course, your salads. And, ladies like you can make a meal out of the salad itself. So if you'll take one of the non-meat or seafood entrees and take one of the salads, especially with these homemade dressings and a soup, I think you'll do more than great. But let's go ahead. You have some other questions.
Yeah, I have another question about the turtle soup. Do you serve the turtle soup with sherry, like a portion of sherry in the turtle soup?
Yes, ma'am. We have a little cruet on the side with sherry to the table.
Okay.
We also have a little bit of sherry in the recipe also.
Okay.
Oh, that sounds great.
So
yes.
And also, the other question, my last question is, what area of the city are you in, or what area of Metairie are you in? Because I missed that.
Old Metairie, right on Metairie Road.
I'll tell you the landmark, and everybody knows the Oakland Heart Jewelers. It's been there forever.
Oh, okay, yes.
I mean that strip mall where Oakland Heart Jewelers
Yes,
is.
yes.
Well,
Okay, I know exactly where it
You
is.
get right across from the Metairie School. You can't miss it. It's been there for years, and like I say, it's turned over several times. We're hoping we got a stayer this time.
Let's
Okay,
hope
I'll
so.
have to
Grace.
visit there.
Let's hope so.
Thank you very much.
Thank
you
you.
for calling, Grace. Okay, let's go back to the menu because like I said, we still have a lot to cover, and we got our musician waiting by, coming on again. We've gone through the salads, I think, so we need to talk on entrees. And a New Orleans restaurant wouldn't be at a New Orleans restaurant without the basics, the Mondays, red beans and rice. Now, of course, he's serving red beans and rice every day, so it doesn't have to be just Monday. Every day is Monday. Tell us about your red beans and rice.
Well, the red beans and rice are delicious. It's Chef Smitty's recipe. He does them real good, old time, cooking them on the stove real slow. We cook them the day before. We don't serve them that day. We use ham shanks in the beans for seasoning and flavor. They come out really good. Also on Mondays, we rotate our other bean. Every Monday we either have the large lima beans, which used to be butter beans when I was a kid, the Great Northerns, which are the small white beans, or black-eyed peas. And we rotate that each Monday, and we serve it with a nice sausage from Marciani Sausage Company's chorizo or Italian or green onion. And we serve that on Mondays as a special, and that's very popular also.
Okay, great. And
For lunch and dinner, by the way. We do the beans for lunch and dinner.
good. Well, that's good because many times you can't get out to Metairie for lunch, if you
And
work downtown.
Bob, let me say this though, red beans is one of my most popular, even though we're a seafood restaurant, red beans is one of the most popular dishes on the menu.
Well, great. But in addition to that, besides the regular entrees, he has a whole selection we call house favorites. And on that, he does another. And what are we talking about? Basically, we're talking about comfort food, folks, whether it's red beans. And one of the ones I tried the first time was the corned beef and cabbage. So this is great, great comfort food. This is family food. The whole orientation is toward the family. But I think business lunch, anything. Let's talk a little bit about your house favorites, particularly your corned beef and cabbage.
That's one of my favorite dishes. We put it on for my mother, who's from the Irish Channel, and that's the shamrock and the logo. That's where that comes from, plus I'm part Irish. And it's a basic, traditional New Orleans platter of corned beef and cabbage. It's got corned beef, cabbage, new potatoes, carrots, and cornbread. And it's a very popular item also.
Okay. But I know if we spend too much time on that, people are going to say, well, how can he call himself a seafood restaurant? He's only got it in the appetizers. So let's get back to the seafood. And I know one of the ones that's important is a seafood platter. And you really got some stuff on here. Let's talk about your seafood platter.
Yes, sir. The seafood platter comes with 5 jumbo shrimp, 5 oysters, 3 pieces of catfish, and a stuffed crab. The jumbo platter comes with a beautiful fresh soft shell. As everybody knows, it's soft shell season right now. So all the crabs are fresh and beautiful. We get them 3 times a week, and they're awesome. And it's another very popular item on the menu is the seafood platter.
Okay. In addition to that, staying with a specialty of New Orleans, it really is popular, even though it's sometimes seasonal, is the soft shell crab. Tell us about your soft shell crab.
Well, like
the big ones, the little ones. What do you do?
No, we get jumbos. I buy the biggest we can find. Right now, they haven't got as big as they're going to get, but they're getting better. But the key here is that they're fresh. They still come in wiggling, as they say. But it's a beautiful crab that comes out.
Okay. Any other item? Like I say, I'm looking at the entrees, and entrees got to be almost 15 long, and then another 5 or 6 house favorites. Any other item on the entrees that we want to feature before we move into some of the other dishes?
Basically, we just have like a neighborhood restaurant, just all the seafood: catfish, oysters, shrimp. Trout. We have speckled trout. I do not serve any. If I can't get speckled trout, we don't say it's speckled trout. One of the things that in the house favorites that's also really popular, it's really taken off, is the fresh grilled fish of the day, and we rotate that all the time. Like for instance, today we have amberjack, and then tomorrow it's going to be wahoo, and we usually rotate like mahi, amberjack, wahoo, tuna. Lemon fish, when I can get it, is the most popular, but right now lemon fish is not available, so that's how we go by that.
Well, in addition to the standard treatment of seafood, he also has some pasta dishes. I know I tried the other day a combination seafood pasta. Let's talk about that one, because I think that needs for those who like their starches with the seafood, I think this is a great tribute. Go ahead and tell me what you do with those.
That is a very good dish. It's made with bow tie pasta, which is the pasta in the shape of a bow tie. It's in a Alfredo sauce, and it's served with crawfish, crabs, and shrimp sautéed down with a little green onion, and the Alfredo and the pasta, and it's a very good dish. Sprinkle a little Parmesan cheese on top. It's a very filling dish, too. Speaking of pastas, we don't have a lot of pasta on the menu, but however, on Wednesdays, we're going to start this Wednesday. We're going to feature Italian specials for lunch and dinner. So it's going to be like Italian day or night.
Great. Well, I think that's a good idea to add that in. Now, in addition to that, he also has sandwiches because, again, many times we still, a neighborhood restaurant has got to have sandwiches, good old po' boys. And I think, but one of the ones we had the other day, which was really enjoyable, not a po' boy, was a variation on the club. You have a club sandwich, but you also have a chicken club. So tell us about that one, Zeke, please.
Well, yeah, we got that one from Carl Ewing from Fat Harry's. And West End. He gave us that recipe that was. He added a piece of grilled chicken, a fried chicken, to a club sandwich, and it came out great. So that's where we got that start from Fat Harry's.
Well, I think again it's a great variant. I know I didn't get a chance to try, but my dining partner really enjoyed it. Thoroughly went through the whole thing and it was a large sandwich, folks, because there's a lot of ingredients. So if you're a sandwich buff, I recommend that. Now you have the standard po' boys as well, and even hamburgers. So we've got a lot of things to entice you, whether it be a full meal, plate meal, the old comfort food, the great kind of seafood that New Orleans is known for, on the half shell for oysters, early on all the other boiled seafood that you get out of our lakefront. So it's really got a variety of stuff for most of the diners. Anyone's palate's got to have something here. Okay, we do want to talk, anything else you want to talk about in the entrees or the sandwiches before we do need to go back in a little bit to our musical guests, so, but we want to top it off before we go to the other items on them. Anything else in the entree or the sandwiches that you'd like to touch on?
Basically, we pretty much covered everything. The one thing I wanted to mention was that as along with the Chicken Club, we have what you would call, I guess, a traditional club. That's a very popular item also, and a very filling sandwich also.
Mm-hmm. And also I see a soft shell crab sandwich. I know, again, we talked about the soft shell crabs a little early as an entree, but soft shell crab sandwiches on a Friday, that's gotten to be pretty much of a mainstay here in our city. Tell us a little bit about that one.
Well, this is the time to get them because they're fresh and they're coming in every day now, and it's a beautiful product on a piece of French bread, which of course the French bread I think is a big key, and we got our French bread from Leidenheimer, who's been in business for over 100 years, and I think that's a key to a good sandwich.
It surely is.
A good poor boy.
A poor boy has to have good bread. There's no doubt about it. And even though some of our chains feature their own bread, many of those, there's nothing like, if you've lived here in New Orleans, there's nothing like New Orleans French bread. And as I've said, one of the ways I judge a restaurant is not only its ability to be flexible and hire off the menu, order off the menu, the service, quality of the food, but also its bread. First thing I do is taste the bread on the restaurant, and if it's homemade, if it's hot, if it's plentiful, then that's something that's going to really dictate that I come back. And we feature so many different types here of French bread and different other types of bread. That is really a key. So I think you've done the right thing. If you're not going to make your own bread, and with your variety of menu, I can understand why, then pick some of the best wholesalers and manufacturers of the city, and Leidenheimer certainly does. Okay, I think we're gonna take a break now, and we're gonna go ahead and go to our musician, Joshua Bennett, who's done a song for us. Joshua is an upcoming talent, as we mentioned. He's got a lot of volume, a lot of intensity. And Joshua, what are you gonna do for us on this song?
Bob, the next tune I'm going to do is called Let Go. It's a song about falling out of love. Sometimes I feel like a sinner. Other times I feel I'm insane. When the good people that you talk about are leaving me the blame. The air between us heavy, like a storm clenched in tight hands. A crowded discussion of different opinions. Tired and mad. You gotta let go and fall back in love. Girl, you know you gotta let go and fall back. Let go and fall back in love, baby. Let go and fall back in love. A change that took me beyond you. Looking back on our days, forgetting the harsh freshness, the messy departures, the sweetness remains buried deeply inside me, like a slow, thoughtful refrain. All the things that taught me have vanished like the rain. Let go and fall back in love, girl. Girl, you know you gotta let go and fall back in love. Let go and fall back in love. Let go and fall back in. That'll meet me are strangers, Lord knows I can't bear the cold looks they throw me, the closed doors they show me, remind me of what you were. And now the days are never ending, and I'm slow to my cares. The feelings I've shattered, the things that once mattered, are much too much to bear. Baby girl, let go and fall back in love. Let go and fall back in love, baby. Don't you know I tried so hard every day to please you, to make it right. Baby, let go and fall back in love. Oh, baby, please, I don't want to leave. Oh, let go and fall back in love. Baby, don't you know you gotta let go and fall back.
Very, very nice. Welcome back. Boy, as I mentioned, he changed the pace, but he didn't reduce that volume or intensity. He's really got a knack for the song, doesn't he, folks? Okay, again, let's go back to our restaurant of the day, and it is Zekes out in our Jefferson Parish, our neighbor here. And we've gone through a good bit. As you can see, there's so much on this menu. There's even a kids menu, as I mentioned, a family deal. And we still got a lot to go through and don't have much time at all. So some of it we are going to streamline. As we mentioned, there is a full bar for you, wine selections of your choice and beverages. You'll just have to wait till you get there and see it. But what we need you to do is talk about some of the desserts, because again, the reason why there's some homemade specialties here, and of course, you know, we always like to try and sample and give you the information where they're making the things themselves as opposed to just importing it. And I know I had delicious homemade cheesecake the other day. Now, a lot of people do cheesecake, but very few actually make it themselves. So I would encourage you, and I had it a la mode. And one thing good about this restaurant is a lot of places feature ice cream, but the standard, all they do is give you vanilla, no other choice. Here, for us chocolate lovers, you also have chocolate. So I had a great big scoop of chocolate ice cream with a fresh piece of cheesecake. I mean, this cheesecake was so fresh, it was melting in my mouth. Well, it was right temperature, it wasn't ice cold. It was really well done, really well done. And Zeke, let's talk about, I know there's some other homemade ones you do, and I believe it's some pies. Let's talk about some of your pies. What do you do there? What kind of fruit pies? What else do we have?
Yeah, we basically do fruit pies. The most popular is the apple. We make that with the Granny Smith apples, and one of our cooks, Brian, does our desserts for us. The apple is also has like a a streusel in it, and it with a little brown sugar, and it really adds to the flavor of the pie. And it's people really like the apple pie. We also serve it a la mode with a scoop of either vanilla or chocolate ice cream. Most people get vanilla, but it's a popular dish. The other homemade, we have bread pudding, which we make from scratch, from the stale French bread, of course, and the raisins, a traditional bread pudding recipe with the rum sauce. And we also have an Oreo brownie with ice cream.
I know that was one of my diners tried that and really enjoyed it. Let's talk about that because it was a beautiful presentation to it as well.
Yes, it's nice. It's a Oreo brownie, and we have a big healthy scoop of vanilla ice cream, and it's laced with chocolate syrup on it, and it's served that way, and it's pretty popular. Actually, it's our most popular dessert.
I know it was served very warm. The brownie was nice and fresh and warm with that cold ice cream. It was very nice to taste. Okay, and I know he has some others, but again, as we mentioned, our time is running short. So we do want to, Zeke did want to explain some of his special days or night dinners. He alluded to that earlier, that on Wednesdays his pasta or spaghetti or Italian day and night, where he brings in pasta. But really, each night of the week, he has a different theme. And let's go over that. On Monday, what's our deal on Monday night, Zeke?
Well, Monday night is raw oyster night, and for a dozen oysters costs $3. A half dozen costs $1.50, and that's very popular. That starts at 4 o'clock and it goes till close, which is 10 p.m. On Tuesday night, another very, very popular item is our lobster night. We get the live chick lobsters from Boston Direct. It's £1.25 pound. They come in there that's the ones with the claws. People always call up and they say, "Is that the one with the claws, out the claws?" The Florida lobsters don't have the claws. But it's live Maine lobsters, live lobster. We cook them fresh to order, and it's served with a fresh corn on the cob and new potatoes and a salad, and that's $15.95, and that's every Tuesday night. And we've been doing about 60 to 70 lobsters every Tuesday, so it's really picked up. And on Thursday night, we do a prime rib, which we have a real nice cut of prime rib, and we cook it to order, and that's also with a baked potato and a salad, and that's our Thursday night special.
Okay, and Wednesdays you said was pasta, right?
Wednesday's coming up. Wednesday, we're going to start this Wednesday, is going to be pasta.
So is it going to be choices of pasta or just one pasta per week? How are we going to do that?
Well, for instance, this Wednesday we have spaghetti and meatballs for lunch, and we have a pasta dish like I believe it's like a shrimp fettuccine for Wednesday night for dinner. So no, it'll be a single.
Fixed, yeah, okay.
Yes, sir. It'll be a fixed item, lunch and dinner special on Wednesday.
Great.
And it'll have different types of pastas, and of course we'll change the pastas each Wednesday. We'll go with different stuff each time.
Okay, so folks, besides the extensive menu that we've gone over today, he's even specializing days of the week. So you can see that he's certainly aiming to please everyone out there. Now we have one other thing that he's added, and even though it's only one day per week, it's important because we've talked about earlier, our restaurant was a breakfast item. We do like to find breakfast restaurants because not only for the weekend but the weekday. Now he's adding it only on Sunday, which is traditional, Sunday after church or before church, etc. Let's talk about your breakfast items and when that goes, what part of the day, etc. on Sunday.
Okay, on Sunday we have breakfast from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. And of course we start serving lunch at 11. So we're doing lunch and breakfast from 11 to 1 on Sundays. It's just a traditional breakfast. It's eggs, ham, sausage, bacon. We do omelets. We have fresh fruit, which is grapes and cantaloupe and pineapple, and we have a fresh fruit bowl. We have homemade grits. We have homemade hash browns. Everything we have is made from scratch. We have biscuits. We have toast.
You mentioned you also had my favorites, is traditional ones, and that's grits and griots. Is that correct?
Once again, Chef Smitty comes shining through, and his griots recipe I'll put against anybody's. He makes like a dark roux with it, and it puts peppers in it, and he slices the veal in thin strips, and it really is very tasty, and it's served with cheese grits, and that's a sleeper on the menu.
Well, that's something that ought to draw you right away because, again, as you know, that's something that's fairly unique to New Orleans for breakfast items. And We've got years ago, it was as common as any restaurant that had breakfast. Today, it's the opposite. You have to seek out those restaurants that's going to put grits and griots on the menu. So I know I usually do. One other thing, I know you've covered the eggs items and the traditional. Do you have any like waffles or pancakes, anything like that?
Yes, we have waffles, we have pancakes, we have pecan waffles or pecan pancakes. We also have bananas and strawberries, so you can get a banana waffle or a strawberry waffle. The same thing with the pancakes. I forgot to mention we also have eggs Benedict, which is really good also.
Okay. Well, I tell you, I'm going to give him a try because my whole deal is a dessert waffle. I invented this years ago at a place called Camellia Grill and then Russell's Marina Grill. And what it is a pecan banana waffle. It's got bananas and nuts, so hopefully you have some nuts. And then it has whipped cream on it, and in the center of it has chocolate ice cream. Now, this is not for the weak of heart, but since he has chocolate ice cream there, it sounds like he has all the ingredients. We're going to have to give him a try.
I even have the whipped cream.
Then you have the whipped cream. So he's got all the basics to make what I consider the best dessert breakfast around.
Sounds pretty good.
Well, I appreciate that. Some people get oohing and eyeing, but I'm telling you, it is healthy. Suffice it to say, it's a great dessert, a great item, quite filling, and I've enjoyed it over the years. But not too many people will accommodate it. Anything else on the breakfast menu that we've missed, or any other part of it that you want to talk about, the breakfast idea?
Oh, we didn't touch on omelets. We have very nice omelets. We have an omelet that you can build from scratch. We have a all-American, ham and cheese omelet. We have chili omelet, but sometimes we'll do a crab meat au gratin omelet, which is pretty good as a special.
Great. Okay, and then again, folks, for those who like to for their beverages, I'm sure they'll make you a lovely Bloody Mary or a mimosa, something like that to go with, which has gotten to be another breakfast standard to accompany your breakfast.
And a brandy milk punch also.
Oh, there you go. So he's covered all the bases for New Orleans beverages on a breakfast morning. Okay, is there any other item that we've forgotten? Because we do have a little more time, so let's see what else, anything else, because if not, I'm going to sign it off and give some more information to the audience about our show.
Basically, we pretty much covered the whole menu. It's an exciting challenge. I'm really looking forward to this. So far, the response, as you have already pointed out, has been very popular, and it seems like there was a need in that neighborhood for a neighborhood-type restaurant, and people look for neighborhood-type restaurants with good product. And as you see, the building came out very nice. My brother Joey built it for me, and he did a great job. And hopefully we're there for a long time, and I don't plan on turning over like the other places did.
Yeah. Well, it is true. He has filled the niche because long-standing, they have several restaurants. A little further down is really Restaurant Row for Old Metairie, but each one is a different ethnic style. And years ago, when we grew up in Old Metairie, it was just the opposite. There were 3 phenomenal family restaurants, and I won't name those names because only one still remains, and it's it's a shadow of its earlier years. But they were always packed because this is what families are. This is the suburban that was, Jefferson is the suburban dream, bedroom community of Orleans. And so that's where the families wanted to go. And so they need family-style restaurants in addition to, that feature New Orleans food in addition to the specialty restaurants. So even though a lot of the specialty have done extremely well, he saw the need for what needed to be returned back to the old days of bringing a family restaurant to a family community. So that's why he's doing so well, and hopefully will continue to do so. Okay, we do appreciate Zeke Unans for coming on and bringing his show, his restaurant menu to you all. Want to talk a little bit more about the restaurant review show, so that way we can fill up and then let you go out with Josh Bennett, who's done so well for us today. As you know, as I've said earlier, you're welcome to come to any of our shows. You can call after the show anytime, 891-8911, area code 504, or you can go on my website. The website is restrevue.com. It's R-E-S-T-R-E-V-U-E, or if you spell it R-E-V-I-E-W, it'll still get there. They'll show you about our former radio show, but it'll also have a place on the comments for you to give us feedback about the show. Again, we want to know more about what restaurants. We're hoping that we beat you to the punch so that every restaurant we bring you is something you haven't even heard about or you haven't had a chance to experience yet. So you'll have that interest to go out there and try it. That's our goal, is to get you out there trying these foods, and of course listening to these musicians. Many of these musicians have gotten jobs at our restaurants, and you can hear them there locally, which is even another plus. As we said, we'd like to hear from you if you have anyone with musical talent that you'd like to feature on our show. We do auditions. Again, call that number or send a little note to the email so that we can go ahead and get in touch with that person and see if we can try him or her out, or a band. And lastly, we've added the idea of adding artists, whether it's sculpture or painting, to the show to give them credit, so we can also explore and broaden those bases, because we have such a great artistic community. We bring great food to this community, great sound, and we also bring great art. So we want to do all of our that we can to introduce it to the community and give that as much exposure as possible. As I said, you can look for my writings. I do write in 4 magazines. I would appreciate you looking at Gulf Coast Arts Review that came out probably this weekend all around town, and you'll see one of our earlier restaurants that we reviewed uptown. And watch for next week. We're going to have Nexus magazine, which is at all the local places, and that includes a new review on Tommy Wolf's restaurant, who's on our TV show many months ago, but is a real good friend and a great restaurant, Wolf's of New Orleans, who's added lunch to their evening menu. So that will be a great tribute. So look for that in writing, and hopefully you'll give him a try. Stay tuned to us in the future. We've got some upcoming artists coming on. A great young lady coming up very soon, Amy Trail, will be on. Another one, we're hoping, Beth Patterson, who's releasing her new CD yesterday, and we're anxious to put it on, so she'll be on June 8th. We're going to bring in another one of our breakfast restaurants, Surrey's, which will really finish out the magazine row. As you know, we had Winnie's, we had, on our earlier show today, we had the beautiful Sugar Magnolia, and then we'll have Surrey's, which will be the last on magazine that have breakfast items. But we have a lot more restaurants to go throughout our city. As we said, we constantly are opening new restaurants of all caliber, and we're hoping that you're finding it helpful. We do appreciate those people who want us to go on other channels and are taking the liberties and taking their time out to write to other areas just so we can broaden our exposure. We are looking to move to other access channels, not only here in New Orleans, but outside of Louisiana, in Louisiana and outside, so we can really get the show to broaden its community. Okay, without further ado, hopefully we've talked enough that you know about us to continue to patronize us. Our next live show will be Saturday, we're coming up on May the 11th, I believe. May the 11th at 3 o'clock, we will have the next show. These shows will be seen on Wednesdays and Fridays, all of our repeats, at midnight and midday on Wednesday, and at 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. on Friday. So watch for this show and some of the others on Wednesdays and Fridays when you catch some time, I think. And tell your friends and neighbors. Okay, now we're ready to finish it out. Again, we're going to return to the young man Joshua Bennett, who I call Josh because I guess it's just a habit. But Josh, what are you going to take us out with?
Bob, I'm going to be taking us out with a song I wrote called Take Me for a Ride.
Lord, take me for a ride. You know I ain't easily mistaken. My time is nigh. Let my past roll far behind. In the morning of my lifetime, endless days were filled with wonder, yeah. But now the evening sky has fallen, and my eyes are closing shut. Mother, dry your eyes, be easy.
was sweet while I was living, yeah. A chance to live is not to die. Mother, no, 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 don't you cry. Lord, take me for a ride. You know I ain't easily mistaken. My body's cold and my time is nigh. Let my past roll far behind. Tuesday's Charlie's waking, calling out as she is shaking. Empty bowls for hungry eyes. And Tuesday's child just up and cries. Weary looks from older faces shine their eyes on empty shoulders, yeah. Let it be a reminder of just a thread that's fast unraveling. I said, Lord, take me for a ride. You know I ain't easily mistaken. My body's cold and my time is nigh. Let my past roll far behind. Back home I used to sing, Lord, take me for a ride. You know I ain't easily mistaken. No, my body's cold and my time is nigh. Let my past just roll on by. Yeah, yeah. All I know, Lord, take me for a ride.
Involved in being able to navigate. And how does navigation tie in with matters pertaining to safety? Now, I know you're wondering, why am I standing here next to this traffic signal? Can anyone tell me who invented the traffic signal?
Garrett A. Morgan.
Garrett A. Morgan. Very good. Now, let me ask, can you imagine a city without traffic signals to help us navigate? Well, I can tell you, 75 years ago, that was the case. And that's when Garrett A. Morgan, an African American, saw a collision involving an automobile and a horse-drawn carriage. And so he invented this navigation aid that helps us, as we come to an intersection, move through it safely. Now, all of navigation, though, doesn't just control the way we move on the ground. As a matter of fact, what Garrett Morgan did with this traffic light, we are now doing with satellite navigation aids in the skies. And NASA is helping us to do that. Now, before today's program ends, you're going to be introduced to the wonders of satellite navigation through the persons of Van Hughes and Shelley Canwright, the hosts of NASA Connects. Watch and be inspired.
Hi, I'm Van Hughes, and welcome to NASA Connect, the show that connects you with the world of math, science, and NASA. I'm supposed to be meeting my friend Dr. Shelley Canwright somewhere around here at NASA Langley, so we can start off our show about navigation. Well, in today's show, you'll meet students from Northampton Middle School on the eastern shore of Virginia who were given a special navigational challenge. You'll also meet researchers here at NASA Langley in Hampton, Virginia, who will show us new forms of navigation. Oh, and when you see this symbol, that's your clue to check out more information, fun, and activities on the NASA Connect website. So, to start things off, Shelley has a special event lined up for us, so let's go check it out. Hey, Shelley.
Oh, hey, Van.
Finally, I found you. What's going on?
Oh, this is so neat. We're going to be in a road rally.
A road race? That's awesome.
No. This is not a race against time or speed. This is a race that's involved with how well we can navigate accurately. Something you probably could stand some help on, Van. Oh, hey, and this is Brad Ball. He's from the Geographic Information Team, and he's in charge of the road rally.
Hey guys, Shelley, Van, this is a special road rally. No maps allowed. We're only going to use GPS receivers.
What's a GPS receiver?
GPS stands for Global Positioning System. This little device, a GPS receiver, is the future of navigation.
So just how does this GPS receiver work, and how are we supposed to use it in this road rally?
The Global Positioning System is a constellation of 24 satellites that orbit the Earth. GPS makes it possible for people using ground receivers to determine their geographic location. By measuring the travel time of a signal transmitted from each satellite, a receiver can calculate its distance from the satellite. When receiving the signals from at least 4 satellites, a receiver can determine the latitude, longitude, altitude, and time. If the receiver is equipped with a computer that has a map, the position is shown on the map. If you are moving, a receiver may also tell you your speed, direction of travel, and estimated time of arrival at the destination.
Oh, okay. I think I understand now how we're supposed to use this receiver in this rally. This receiver will help us navigate to each of our destination points, but we only have a certain amount of time to get there.
Which means speed is important. So, I'm driving.
Wrong, Van, on both points. In a rally, you maintain the posted speed limit. Using the posted speed limit, plus the distance to each checkpoint, we have calculated the time it should take you.
Time equals distance divided by speed.
Right. Now program this receiver with your checkpoint coordinates. Your challenge is to find each point. The time and accuracy of finding each point contributes to your score. Shelley, you're the driver. Van, you're the navigator. Okay. One final rule. Here's your logbook. This must be signed and time-stamped at each checkpoint. Also, at each checkpoint, you're to collect the information on the navigation and how GPS applies to the featured site and get a clue to the next leg of your trip. Wait for the green light. I'll send each crew 1 minute apart.
All right, Brad, I think we're ready, okay? All right, all of us. How about hopping in? We've got room in the back. You can come along, help us collect the information, and maybe look over Van's shoulder. He'll probably need the help. Let's go.
Still think you should have let me drive.
Hey, hey, hey. Navigate. You navigate. I drive.
Wow, this is awesome. There's a computerized map on this receiver. It says that we have to go northwesterly, so... Oh, take a right here.
Right here. Got it. Van, are you sure you have those coordinates right? We're coming into Busch Gardens, Williamsburg. Okay, listen, Van, I think you got us to the right place. Read some more on the GPS instructions. I'm going to take this and see what I can find out, okay? And I'll be back in just a few moments. Busch Gardens. The bearings say here... Feathered Follies. Okay. Hello, excuse me. Am I in the right place? Is this the first leg of the road rally?
Yeah, come on down.
Oh, great, fantastic. Oh, Van, my man, you got us here. You navigated us correctly, all right. Oh, I am so relieved. Hi, I'm Shelley Canwright.
I'm Denise.
Oh, I'm so glad to know I'm at the right place. Here's my rally log.
Okay.
If you could sign that, please. And I'm curious, where am I? What is Feathered Follies?
This is the Feathered Follies Bird Show at Busch Gardens. And what we do here is we have hawks, falcons, owls fly through the theater. We have different types of parrots that do different behaviors to entertain the audience, the guests, while they're here.
So what in the world does Feathered Follies have to do with navigation or GPS? I'm confused.
Well, all our birds that are here out in the wild, they do some type of natural migration. Songbirds migrate at night. They follow the stars. The birds of prey, they migrate during the day so they can move with the way the sun changes. They're following mainly their food and looking for warm weather.
What is the farthest that a bird has ever migrated? Do you have any
The
idea?
Arctic tern is the bird species that migrates the most, and they can go from northern Greenland down to Antarctica.
Wow, no kidding. This is fascinating, but I know I need to be on my way. So you've got some instructions there for me?
Yes, your next leg is going to take you to learn about early navigation.
Early navigation. All right, gang, you heard that? Back to the car. Let's get Van and let's go. Denise, thanks very much. We're on our way.
Good luck.
All right, thanks. Van, you were right. You do know how to use one of these things.
What did you see?
Oh, this is so neat. Birds. I learned how birds can navigate by instinct.
Well, gee, that makes me wonder if the GPS could be used to study animals in nature. Did you find our next clue?
I did. All I know, though, is it has something to do with early navigation.
Well, let's go.
All right, let's get out of here. Okay, is this our next stop?
Mariners Museum. There has to be something on navigation here.
Excuse me, are you with the NASA Road Rally?
Yes, I am. Do you have your logbook with you?
I sure do. Now, according to our instructions, we're supposed to learn something from you about early navigation.
Well, here at the Mariners Museum in Newport News, Virginia, we tell the story of man's conquest of the seas. When people set out to explore the oceans, they had to create a system of measurement to determine their location. To determine the distance along north to south, the navigator had to determine the altitude of the sun. For instance, if the sun on the equator at noon is 90 degrees to the horizon, and if the sun at the North Pole is 0 degrees, then the degrees in between note a ship's position. This is called latitude. To locate his east to west position, the navigator had to measure the difference between local times. For example, when the sun was at noon in different places. This is called longitude, and spring-driven clocks were a great boon to determining that position. Although the cross staff, the magnetic compass, and the spring-driven clock were high-tech for their day, ancient mariners continued to navigate a lot by what we call dead reckoning. That is, by estimating the position traveled from a previously determined position. Ah, I see you have one of those GPS contraptions. That's the way to navigate today.
Captain, this has been very interesting, but you know, looking at my watch, I think we need to be shoving off. So, do you have a clue for us?
Well, I think I might. On your next stop, you're going to be studying how early aviators and today's pilots navigate their ways through the skies. Now, away with you!
I don't know, I don't get it. I mean, I don't see an airport,